What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Big Dog Brad. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today, I'm going to be talking about the 2025 UGA football season prediction. Some of my thoughts on kind of the, I won't say lack of respect, but maybe just the general lack overall of, I guess, proper media coverage, journalism, whatever you want to call it. Um, just wow, it's pretty head scratching, to be honest. There's a lot of people that have got Georgia ranked as far down as 5. I've even seen in the 11s, which doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Of course, people are going to point out I'm a Georgia homer, but I try to look at these things as objectively as possible. Obviously, I want Georgia to win, but I also don't want to spend half the season with my foot in my mouth having to have argumentative conversations in the comment section about what I said preseason. So before I jump into a conversation about Georgia's going to go 12-0, I don't think that. You really have to talk about the whole process. What's going on? What is the history? What are we looking at? The whole nine. So I'm going to jump right into it. Here's what we're going to start out with. A lot of people have Texas ranked as number 1. So I'm going to point at Texas a lot here. I pointed at Texas a lot in the last video, and it's because they're ranked number 1. And what people are saying up front, the average fan is not going to be paying attention to. They're not going to know exactly what they're talking about as far as when you get really in depth with stuff. That's what us super nerds and super fans do in our free time. So first off, let's talk about the team talent. When we're talking about team talent, we're talking about how have these teams traditionally recruited, how much talent's on the roster, what kind of coaching staff do we have, that sort of thing. So if we look at the past, 4 or 5 years here, this is the way the breakout is. It's number 1, Texas for last year. Texas, UGA, Bama, 1, 2, and 3. 2024, UGA, Bama, Oregon, and then Texas at number 6. 2023, Bama, UGA, Texas. 2022, Texas A&M, Bama, UGA. And I think Texas was like number 10 in that spot. I could be wrong. Over the past 4 years, Georgia has averaged a 2.4 place ranking. So about halfway between 2 and 3 is where they average. Texas has averaged 6. So the overall talent level is a little bit different. It's going to be, I won't say lopsided, but it's definitely going to lean in Georgia's favor. We'll talk about Gunnar Stockton here in a minute. We'll talk about some of the players at Georgia's roster and one of the reasons why I just don't understand why we're coming up with the ranking that we're seeing across the board. It's almost like these guys are turning a blind eye to what's going on. So let's talk about the benefits that Georgia has over a lot of these other teams, and Texas included. Georgia has the best coaching staff in the country. Nobody can argue that. I will say that now because in just a moment, I'm going to point to stats that show why I believe that. UGA has the best home winning streak in the country, and there is absolutely no doubt about that. UGA only has 3 road games this year: Tennessee, Auburn, and Ole Miss, or no, Mississippi State. Excuse me. So I'm going to point to the number 1 ranked team in the country, and then I'm going to point to Georgia, and I'm going to show you why I think Georgia has the best coaching staff, the best roster, and why Georgia should be ranked. I won't say number 1, but I don't think Texas should be ranked number 1 either. But we'll get into that here in a second. So let's start out with the obvious. We already talked about Georgia having a better roster overall. We already talked about Georgia have a better coaching staff overall. Let's talk about the fact that Georgia beat Texas last year with a worse team. And I do mean that. I legitimately mean that Georgia had a worse team last year than they have this year. And I can point to drop passes and all that good stuff. And Texas had a better team last year than they have this year. So they certainly had a much more seasoned quarterback. And Georgia still beat them. Now, when we talk about team stats, we talk about the team as a whole. So let's point out the fact Georgia had the most drop passes. They had the 3 most drop pass players in the SEC, at least the top 2, depending on how you count drop passes, which is a weird stat. Georgia could have number 1, number 2, number 3, which was Arian Smith, Dominic Lovett, and Dylan Bell. Georgia's third down completion was not even in the top 50. Texas was at 42. Georgia wasn't even in the top 50. Texas at 42. Texas was number 8 in stopping third downs. Georgia was at 17. Completion percentage, Texas was at number 16, the third down completion. Texas was at 16, UGA was at 22. UGA was not even in the top 50 in first down defense. Texas was number 2 in first down defense. First down offense. Texas was number 2 in first down offense. UGA was 20, ranked number 20. Texas passing yards allowed was the 7th best in the country. UGA was at 38. Texas's red zone defense was number 3 in the country. UGA was not even in the top 50. Rushing defense at Texas, 13. UGA, 36. Scoring defense, Texas, number 3. UGA, 23. Scoring offense, Texas, 29. UGA, 38. Team sacks, Texas, 15. UGA ranked 29. UGA had 31 drop passes, which was the number 1 in the SEC. They were the only team to have 3 players or more drop 5 or more passes. The reason that I point those things out is because Georgia was pretty much behind Texas in every statistical field that you could point at that mattered. And UGA beat them twice in the same season when Texas had a better team. This Texas team is not better than it was last year. This Georgia team is. This Georgia team is better this year than it was last year. And you're going to say, well, Brett, you lose 4 of the 6 starters on the offensive line. Yeah, but we do that most years. We cycle guys in and out. I'm not terribly surprised. It is not like the guys that are playing the line have never played a snap of football. Most of these guys are huge. They're not walking up there, stepping in the line and weighing in at 180 pounds on the offensive line. That's not how that works. Georgia's offensive line, the guys are 6'3" to 6'7", 290 to 360 pounds. Georgia's defensive line, every one of them is 6'4 plus and ranging from 275 pounds to 340 pounds. Most of them are around 310. They have a top-end secondary that is considered by many to be the best in the country. So, real quick, let's talk about some of the stuff on Georgia's staff. It's not Georgia staff. Let's talk about we're not going to talk about Georgia staff. That's not even a fair fight. Let's talk about what Georgia's got coming back. Gunnar Stockton. We talked a lot about him in the last video, but this guy's an absolutely elite talent. The team rallies around him. He is number 1 passing record in the state of Georgia. This guy is gonna absolutely floor people. Georgia brings to fix the wide receiver room that we've had so much of a problem with over the past several years. This is probably the best recruiting class we've had, wide receiver class that we have had in probably 7 or 8 years. When you're talking about the depth that we have in the wide receiver room, it's really, really top notch. The fact that we lose Arian Smith and the fact that we lose Dominic Lovett is really addition by subtraction. Those guys stepping away, yes, they had talent, but they had a lot of drops. It's like you never knew if they were going to catch it. So Georgia's bringing in some trusted and tried and true hands. Zachariah Branch from the USC, number 1 wide receiver prospect, number 1 in the state of Nevada, and number 7th nationally. This guy is a top tier talent. I want to say he's 6'4", 6'5". Noah Thomas, Texas A&M. He is a heck of a talent. He's coming in. He's 6'5". CJ Wiley, 6'4". Colby Young coming in from Miami, 6'4". London Humphreys, who absolutely balled out at Vanderbilt, 6'2". And we still have Dylan Bell, who's 6'1", who's more of a Swiss Army knife. Yes, he had a lot of drops, but this time he's going to have a lot of help. This is probably the deepest wide receiver room Georgia has had in memory. Oh, and by the way, for the guys out there that are watching and saying, "Oh, Georgia's going to go 8-4," please DM me. We need to place bets. Georgia has not went 8-4 since Kirby Smart's first year. Yes, last year was arguably the worst team that we've put on the field with Kirby Smart since ever, and he still won 10 games. Make it make sense. That's your belief system. Put your money where your mouth is. Let's talk about the tight end room. Oscar Delp, 6'5", #1 tight end prospect nationally, #4 prospect in the state of Georgia, #41 prospect nationally overall. Lawson Lucky, he's 6'5". Lawson Lucky, 6'4", #8 tight end prospect and tight end prospect in the country, #8 prospect in Georgia. Okay, so we've got quality tight ends. Oh, by the way, Georgia's running back room, Roger Robertson, who was the number 13th running back prospect in the country, or number 13th running back prospect, and number 14th overall in the state of California. And for those of you who don't know, California is huge in the realm of college football. They have an absolute metric, ton of talent out there. And so Roger Robertson, I think he got hurt last year, really couldn't get up to speed. He's coming back. Josh McCray, 600 plus yards last year, Illinois, I might add, 5.2 yards per carry with the Illinois O-line. He's going to be great. By the way, Nate Frazier last year for Georgia was a little over 600 yards, so he could at least be on par with Nate Frazier, helping to shoulder some of that load. Nate Frazier is seeing more and more of the rock. I think he's kind of going to be the main ball carrier. He's number 4. He was the number 4 running back prospect in the country. Number 4 running prospect in California and number 6 overall prospect in California. And last year, he led the team with total yards as far as rushing, but 5 yards per carry. So very serviceable running back. Bo Walker comes in at 5'9", 210 pounds, number 23 running back in the state of Georgia, and number overall 44 prospect in the state of Georgia. And the guy who's kind of sneakily sliding in here is Cash Jones. Cash Jones averaging 6.1 yards per carry with what I would consider a very stagnant Georgia O-line last year. In my opinion, this O-line being revamped is a godsend, because this is going to be basically another addition by subtraction process. These guys that we had last year really weren't performing to standard. Georgia likes to go with experience. I think this year these guys have had enough experience. They're going to step in and they're going to be just fine, especially considering that Georgia is only going to play Georgia's first 2 games are against Austin Peay and Marshall. So it's going to give Georgia a good opportunity to warm up and fix any on-field issues they may see. Now, let's talk about one of the staples at Georgia that gets constantly overlooked, and that's Georgia's linebacking core. On 3, let me see. Not on 3. Elo Mendoza. If you don't know who that is, go look him up. Offensive linebacker, 6'4", 248 pounds. Transferred to Georgia last year. 4-star prospect, rated number 48th overall, number 8 edge rusher, played 2 seasons at Army West Point, appeared in 25 games over 2 seasons, tallying 43 tackles. 20 of those were solo, 9 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, had 1 pass breakup and 2 blocked kicks, recovered a fumble for a touchdown as a freshman, and recorded 2 sacks against UAB in last year in October. Also led the team in tackles and was named to the 2024 the AAC third, whatever that conference's title is. The guy's got accolades all over the place. So when I look at all of this, and then I turn around and I look at people that say, Georgia's going to go 8-4. The wheels are falling off. What are you talking about? Have you taken 5 minutes to go look at the teams out there? There's only one team in the country right now that you could argue's talent level is on par with Georgia, and that's Alabama. Now, if we had to say which team has a more tenured, better overall coach and coaching staff, you can't say Kalen DeBoer has outcoached Kirby Smart on a whole. You can say he has beat him in a couple of games. He may have outcoached him in a couple of games, but Kirby Smart's got 2 national titles sitting in a trophy case and last year's SEC championship. So you may have won the battle, but you didn't win the war. I would be much more willing to accept the fact that you're going to tell me that Alabama is going to come in and beat Georgia. I would say, you know what? There's history there. That's very possible. Georgia could lose to Alabama. Georgia could lose to Texas, but it's not looking likely. I think a lot of this is a bunch of super hype that we see from people that just want to talk up fan bases, and they want to get on the what's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, the Manning train and coddle to Eli Manning and that namesake. And guys, I got to tell you, it is quite silly. You can't turn around and say that Georgia, which by the way has a very favorable schedule, and we're going to go over here in just a minute. You're not going to jump up there and say that Georgia has a very favorable schedule. They have a great coach. They recruit consistently on a high end basis, and then say Texas, which has not recruited as well, got beat last year by Georgia twice, has the same amount of experience at quarterback. Oh, they have a couple of linemen that we think are going to be better, so they're going to run the conference. Get out of here. I just showed you that Georgia was behind Texas in every category that mattered, every one of them, and still got outcoached twice in the same season. Make it make sense. You can't say that Kirby Smart's not a better coach, or if you say that, you can't say, well, it's the quarterback situation. The quarterback that Georgia has coming in beat you guys last year when you had a better team. He's back. You're playing a quarterback who's essentially hasn't even played. I think he's thrown the ball like 12 times in a game. What? Get out of here. That's ridiculous. Anyway, let's go over the Georgia 2025 season preview prediction. Let's talk about the upcoming schedule. You got August 30th through November 28th. We're going to start with a Marshall game. This is, and by the way, again, all but 3 of these are in Athens. There's the Marshall game. Georgia should win this game. Absolutely no problem. You got Austin Peay. Again, there's no reason Georgia should lose this game. These are both tune-up games. By the way, the Tennessee game, Georgia is playing against a Tennessee Vols team who first year starting quarterback, new system, never played in this system before. He's got to figure out how to play football on the fly. You're looking at a Tennessee team who's first. They got a game against Syracuse and then a game against ETSU, whoever that is, and then they play Georgia. Neyland Stadium is going to be rocking. It's going to be loud. This is going to be the first true away game for Gunnar Stockton. I think it's not his true first road game. This is his first road game this season. If we rewind to last year, he played in the SEC championship and then he went and played in playoffs. Granted, those were quote unquote neutral site games, but they're really not. But whatever. I don't foresee a problem here. I think Gunnar Stockton gets the job done. Now, if you want to say Georgia is going to maybe struggle with Alabama at home, I can see you making an argument for that. Alabama gets to go out and beat the absolute will to live out of Florida State the first season, and they get ULM Monroe, and then they get Wisconsin, which I believe last year they were not great. I'm not seeing any reason why they should struggle against Wisconsin. If you go back and you look at Wisconsin last year, they only won like 5 games. Alabama should absolutely destroy these guys. Now, when they get a bye week before they come into Georgia, but so does Georgia. So Georgia plays Tennessee. They get a bye week. They play Alabama. It's a night game, which is awesome. In Athens. Let me explain something to you real quick. UGA has the longest home winning record streak for a reason. This place is going to be bananas. This is probably going to be one of the loudest games you'll ever see if you go to Athens. I think the last time that Georgia played Alabama in Athens was like forever ago. I won't say it was like 10 or 15 years. Like, it's been a long, long time. I could be wrong on that, but it's been a long time. It's been a really long time. So there are a lot of Georgia fans that are excited to see this game. I think Georgia is going to win this game. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think Georgia wins this game. The next week, Georgia goes on to play Kentucky. Georgia's going to win this game. Georgia never has a problem beating Kentucky. Just absolutely gonna just one after another. It's going to be a train wreck. Now, here's the part where I am going to catch some flack from Georgia fans, and that is absolutely fine. Georgia goes on the road to play Auburn at Jordan-Hare after playing Alabama in Athens, which is going to be a very physical football game. Then Georgia's going to play against Kentucky, which they are a very physical football team. They don't have a lot going for them for offense, but man, they're physical, and even Kirby Smart will tell you that. Then Georgia goes on the road to play Auburn. Auburn has been steadily improving, steadily increasing, getting better and better each year. I think that Georgia is gonna make a few mistakes in this game just from being banged up and beat up. And I think they're gonna lose this game. I think Georgia drops one to Auburn. Georgia has done a great job of beating Florida, Auburn, and Georgia Tech consistently. Last year was a little scary with Georgia Tech, but whenever we played against Auburn, I thought last year we were going to lose that game for sure. I think this year at Auburn, I think Auburn wins this game. Ole Miss, Georgia lost to Ole Miss last year. This is in Athens. I think after losing a game to Auburn, Georgia's going to be super hyped up. I think they're going to come in and they're going to stomp on Ole Miss. I think the same thing's going to happen the following week against Florida. There is a bye week between those two, but the following football week where we play, it's going to be Georgia's going to absolutely destroy Florida. So, and part of that's not because Florida's a bad team. Florida's been improving in some ways talent-wise, but I think the problem is that DJ Lagway is their quarterback, and DJ Lagway seems to consistently find a way to stay injured. I believe he's currently injured now, and all they were doing was a team run. I think he hurt his calf or something. The guy he's outstanding talent, but he stays injured, and that's a problem. Then Georgia goes to Mississippi State. That's Georgia's last road game from there until pretty much the December, right? So November 8th, Mississippi State. Georgia's not going to have a problem against Mississippi State. Georgia's going to win that game, no problem. Then Georgia comes back and they play at Texas at home. Depending on how the season goes, Texas may very well be sitting in a position where, let's say that they lose to Ohio State, right? So they're down one, Georgia's down one, and they're out of state. Their loss would be out of conference. Georgia's loss would be in conference. So this is really a make or break for them, because up until this point, Texas will only have played Ohio State in week one, which may or may not be a very good factor. Sometimes week one games are just not great indicators of how good a team is. We've seen teams start out week one and look awesome and then just absolutely fall apart. And then we've seen teams that look absolutely terrible and then turn it on late in the season. I think that's going to be one of these cases, but I think it's the other way around. I think that Texas is going to win. Texas is going to lose against Ohio State, and then they're going to win, and then they're going to get to Georgia, and then Georgia's going to play them, and Georgia's going to be very smoothed out and performing well at this point, and Georgia's going to win this game. They're going to win it the same way they won the last ones. They're going to get outcoached, if nothing else. By this time in the season, you'll be able to see how much better Gunnar Stockton is than Arch Manning, and a lot of this excitement will go away. Texas fans are still going to be cheering their team on, and they should, but I just don't see a reason why at this point in the game, after you see how bad Arch Manning is, that I won't say bad, you'll see how average he is compared to Gunnar Stockton. Then Georgia goes on to play Charlotte, wins that game, and then Georgia plays Georgia Tech, not at Georgia Tech, but at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, because Georgia Tech wanted to sell out their tickets. Georgia has a great record in Mercedes-Benz as long as it's not Alabama. So I don't think Georgia will have any problems. You could say this is a neutral game. Both of these are played in the state of Georgia, but Mercedes-Benz Stadium is about 2 miles as the crow flies, maybe 3 from Georgia Tech Stadium. From Bobby Nod Stadium, nodding off, going to sleep. Fans don't show up. That's the way I see it, guys. I see Georgia going 11-1 here. If you see it going a little different, if you say, I can see Georgia losing to Alabama, I almost feel like that's kind of a given. People are going to say Georgia's going to lose to Alabama, but the rest of them here, if you're going to say Georgia loses to Alabama because that's what Georgia does, then you might as well go ahead and say Texas loses to Georgia because that's what Texas does. Either way, Georgia's going to go 11-1. Worst case scenario, 10-2. If you think Georgia, I've seen Georgia fans. I've seen other fans of other teams jump in the comment section of videos and say Georgia's going to go 6-6. If you're one of those fans and you think Georgia's going to go 6-6, I will put as much money on it as you want to put on it. that Georgia will not go 6-6. I think Georgia's going to go better than 6-6, at least 7-5. If you believe that if you want to put $1,000 down on Georgia going 6-6, let me know. I'm down for it. I will take that action, and I think most Georgia fans would too. So, and by the way, explain this to me, Texas fans. If Texas is truly ranked number 1, why are you guys underdogs in your first game? Make it make sense. Thank you guys so much for being here. Have a great day. God bless. Go Dogs.